This is President Ferdinand Marcos of the Philippines, and Mrs. Marcos. There are crowned heads or heads of state or heads of government, a total of 26 nations here, and some 76 nations represented by other lesser officials on behalf of the heads of their governments. Many
for President Eisenhower here in Washington. It will be even chillier than it is now. As I mentioned, it isn't a bad afternoon here now at the moment at all, since the sun is out and it's fairly warm. But
this morning conferred with.
Now he is, as you have pointed out, seated inside the main portion of the cathedral. Entrance to the service inside is by invitation only. Some 2,107 people, including President Nixon, President de Gaulle, and 17 other heads of state, are included among those invited. This is the main cathedral hall where the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King delivered one of his last, a personal half-hour visit to the widow, Mrs. Mamie Eisenhower, over the weekend. Mrs. Johnson was in Washington on a personal visit at or about the time of President Eisenhower's death. Charles de Gaulle of France carries on a brief conversation with some of the dignitaries on the steps of the cathedral as the cortege forms. Vice President Hubert Humphrey comes up to shake hands with President de Gaulle. A salute for Mrs. Humphrey. A chill has settled outside the National Cathedral now as the sun